Hello, and welcome to the Stage of Greatness. I am Danielle Francine, and I have with me today two of my business partners. I have Troy and I have Matt, who do full names, Troy Domingo and Matthew Andrews. Welcome to the Stage of Greatness. I'm super happy to have you guys. Super grateful to have you guys in my life, really, and be connected with you. It's only been like a year and a half, something like that.
I didn't
Yeah,
realize
almost
that it
two.
was that long.
Yeah,
Yeah,
almost two.
yeah, it feels like a lot longer though. Like just yeah, super comfortable with you guys. So much love for you guys, and I appreciate everything that we do together.
We appreciate you. We're happy to be on the stage of greatness and to have your continued friendship.
Awesome. So let's talk about some stuff and things. So today, what we want to talk with you all about, the audience, is what we do, how we do it, the money that we make, the experiences that we've had, and just kind of like open up, like just open it up, because I feel that, and curious if you guys agree, when we speak with people about our business, it is certain things that we touch on, right? It's like we're presenting. And for me personally, I feel like a lot of times it's not a free, open, flowing conversation like I feel that we're going to have today, with the difference of what we do and what other people do and money and right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So where do we start?
So all right, so let's start here. So the company that we are working with is Modere, right? A clean living company. And like for me, the way I was introduced to it, I'll just kind of, we'll start there and then we'll kind of like, yeah, we'll roll.
Sure.
So yeah, almost 2 years ago. So I've been training for years and years, just like you guys, right? I own a CrossFit gym in New Jersey. You guys all know that. If you're new to the Stage of Greatness, you don't know that. So I had a CrossFit gym in New Jersey for 7 years. I lifted really heavy. Form is really important. I never, ever, ever had an injury, right? And now all of a sudden, I'm lifting in the gym and I have this pain in my shoulder every time I go overhead. Every time I go overhead, every time I go here, I'm like, oh my God, what do I do? I know it's not my form, right? I'm like, am I getting old? But I'm not really that old. I think I was 38 at the time, right? Like, what's happening? So Michelle and I were associated with our CrossFit gyms. We were in the same business mentoring group. So her and I, very similar haircuts, personalities, got along, kept in touch, right? So I'm telling Michelle about this, and she's like, yo, try this collagen. And I'm like, yo, collagen's gonna fix my shoulder. She's like, shut up and try the collagen. I'm like, okay, fine. Whatever you
That's
say,
so Michelle. So
right?
Michelle.
And knowing me, I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. Resistant to it. Fine, I'll try it. So I get it. And after 3 weeks, it started to feel better. And after a couple more weeks, it was totally gone. And I was able to do everything that I was doing prior. And I mean, I'm lifting heavier than I've ever lifted. So, number one, the results that I saw, I was like, okay, what is this? And with my clientele, right? Nutrition, fitness, I'm like, if it did that for me, right, and I'm healthy, I don't really have ailments or aches or pains, man, what could this do for people that have arthritis, that train harder than I do, that have injuries, all of that stuff, right? And that was kind of when I met you, Troy, right? When we started to talk about the business side of things.
Sure.
So yeah, so like with you guys, like how did you guys get into this?
Well, I can kick that one off. So, my background is in the direct selling industry. So, I've always been someone that I don't like working for other people, right? I don't like having a boss. I'm not interested in asking for time off. I don't want to let you know when I'm taking my lunch break because I'm not into that. And so since I was 18, when I really stepped into the workforce, I looked at different ways to be my own boss. And really, there's kind of really only three options. One of them is open a brick and mortar store. The other one is go basically figure out how to be famous or like get into some sort of industry where you're acting or music or entertainment, that kind of thing, or start your own online type e-commerce business. And so that's what I ended up doing at 18. And ever since then, I've always worked for myself. I'm 35 now, so I've never worked for other people. But we got introduced to this e-commerce platform with anti-aging, and that happened kind of on accident, in the sense that the company that I had partnered myself with for 10 years, they were a typical, MLM, where the whole point was get people to buy into your company and spend a lot of money each month. And that's how you got paid, is your team buying a lot of product for themselves and getting a discount on it. And that's how the people at the top got paid, which is how any business is. The manager at Starbucks will always make more money than the cashier. The owner of the franchise will always make more money than the manager. So it's all the same, but that's the model I'd always been in. And so when that company of 10 years had decided we no longer want to honor the work that you guys have done, it cut out all the top leadership and essentially said you can no longer get paid on the work that you've been done, that you've done over the last decade. And I'd have to sell $50-something thousand a month of product to make the same amount of money. And I was like, that's absurd. I'm out. So we started looking at a bunch of different brands, different companies. Wanted to step away from having to do home parties or sampling people or
I remember that life.
Right?
Yep.
It's just stressful. It's not fun. It's awkward going and setting up a booth at a gym and having people walk by and you're like, hey, how's your day?
Yeah, try my products.
Try my products. Even if and here's the thing about the industry is pretty much every company has fantastic products. Like that's the reason why they don't just throw it on a shelf. But the method at which you go to sell the product doesn't work for everybody. In fact, actually, it works for very few. I just happen to be one of the top people in that company that it did work for, but the company changed and cut me out. And so I had to find somewhere else to go. So that's how we got introduced to this, active aging e-commerce platform that is Modere. And I think the thing for us that really set it aside and differentiated itself from all the other things out there is that the amount of income you can make for just selling some product to people that want to buy product from you is unreal. It's unmatched. It's not very common for somebody to make a 6-figure income if they're just selling product with these other companies. You'd have to go and build a massive organization and recruit the heck out of people and put the sticker on the back of your car and wear the pin and say, ask me how to lose weight, like all that stuff. You don't see it. And so that was very attractive. The fact that you could make a good, substantial and sustainable income by just promoting the product. And then of course, if you wanted to build other franchises that you're working alongside and mentoring those people, you can do that as well. So we kind of got into it on accident.
I mean, that's the best thing, right? When you get into it on accident, you're like, wow, what did I just stumble upon? So like to speak to what you were saying with other companies, with the parties and the way that they pay and all of that. So I worked with Isogenics for a couple of years when I owned the gym, right? And I mean, people see you and they see your results and they want to know, okay, what are you doing? Right? So at that time it was shakes and cleanses, and thank God I'm done with that. But so it was very easy for me because I had an audience that I was in front of every single day at my gym. So that summer, I forget what year it was, I was the #1 top enroller in the world for Isogenics, and my paycheck. So it would sound like, wow, you made a lot of money, right? It was like $1,100 or something like that
For all that work.
for all that work,
Wow.
right? And so my first couple months with Modere, like, yeah, way more than that, right? My highest months have been like around 4,000, and that's not a lot of work. To number one top enroller, here's $1,000,
Yeah.
right? Not even close to that. So, yeah. So, and what about you, Troy? Because you're totally different background.
I am totally different background. So, I actually am the typical, like, I have a full-time job thing. I was working, yes, and literally on the times I can get, I would go lift. But no, I've been in the project construction project management role for goodness, 15 years, ever since I graduated college back in 2009. But even through college, I was still working construction to kind of get that internship, get that experience. So those of you in the construction management world know that the work days are, Monday to Monday. Basically, whenever you get to the job site and whenever you leave, right? And if we live in Arizona, it gets very hot in the summertime. If you need to pour concrete, you're doing it in the middle of the night because that's the only time you can pour concrete, right? So basically, you made a ton of money, but your life was basically ransomed to the project, right? And it was great. As a 20-something kid making six figures, it was awesome. It was amazing, right? You couldn't ask it like it. But when you work your way up and now you're a project manager and you're basically not only managing teams below you, but you're also managing the field in conjunction with the superintendent, like your life gets consumed in the whole project management role. Mm-hmm. What didn't help is my boss, right? I thought I was working late hours. I would get emails from them at midnight, and then I would get emails from them at 4 a.m. So I'm like, fantastic. That is my career path. Okay. No way. Right. But a lot of people like to get roped into that security of, oh, I have great job, I have great benefits, but they don't like their life. Right. Mm-hmm. And so that was one of the things that made it attractive to partner with this, is because I was also into fitness, right? I love to work out. I did bodybuilding competitions. And so anything that can bring me some extra money would be great, because then I realized I don't have to rely on this job that demands my life and is going to demand further my life as I work my way up the corporate ladder. And so that's where I saw this as an opportunity. As people said, hey, I want to do what you do. And I said, great, do what I did. Right. And then, take these amazing products with it to be able to enhance your results. Right. Because, Danielle, you and I both know it's nutrition one. Nutrition is always number one. Right. But we all need that nutritional support. Right. To be able to get into the shape that you're in, you need to be able to not only dial down your diet, but you also need to be able to take some nutritional support. Well, guess what? How many people do we know that follow it to a T just like us? A very, very small percentage. So they need to be able to not only have that nutrition guide that they can follow 60, 70, 80% of the time, if I'm being real honest, but then, of course, then that nutritional support becomes that much more important. Because now they're obviously not going to get the results just off nutrition, as long as they're not following it, right? But they do need that even more so that they can be able to obviously make some small gains to it until they can tighten up their nutrition. You know what I mean? So that was just this sort of wow, I could make a great side income from this. And then I decided I don't want to do construction anymore. So then I obviously grew this to the point where I can be able to walk away from that. So that was in October of 2020. So I guess my whole story is that if people say that they're busy, it's just we're all busy. We're all busy doing things. But if you truly want to change your life, you have got to make sacrifices to be able to go party with your friends on Saturday, or do you want to make some money so you can be able to actually leave the position that you're in, right? And that's a choice that a lot of us can make, is You don't have to be able to be a slave to your job, right? Because that's what people want you to do. You're actually growing someone else's passive income by you showing up to the office every single day or where your place of work, right? Or you can start shifting that and saying, you know what, I'm in control of my own life and I am in control of my destiny, so I can be able to go to it. And that's one of the things that makes our industry really, really attractive, is just that opportunity that you have, where you don't have to go open your brick and mortar store. Like Matthew said, you don't have to be able to become TikTok famous, although for some reason that's super easy nowadays. But
No, I need to get on TikTok, I think.
right. But it's just one of those things where it's given that opportunity. And then what you do with that opportunity obviously highlights your success. But
yeah, and like one of the things that I really love about, you know, working with you guys and working with all of the other people that we do, everyone has such a different desire, right? And I love how you guys say, and like how Jen always says, Modere is not the dream, it's the vehicle to get you to your dream. You know, so like whatever your dream is, like the money that you make from Modere supports that, so you have the freedom to do X, Y, and Z, all of the other things. And there's no, you know, like, what are you doing? Why haven't you did it? It's like, okay, you know, like last year when I was going through the divorce, like, yeah, my business was like doing awesome, and then everything started happening and I was like, drop the mic on everything, I'm not doing anything. And I still made money because of the client base that I had built. And I had support from you guys, which was amazing, because I feel other companies, it's like, oh, you're not doing anything? Call me when you're done, when you feel good again.
Yeah.
Right?
And you won't get paid for those days that or you have to be able to get approval for sick time, just stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
So,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Totally. Yeah. Totally. So like one thing that I know has turned me off in the past with other people, right? There's such a stigma around MLM, right? Like, oh my, is it MLM? Like, oh, you have aches and pains, and okay, well, check out this collagen. Oh, well, is it MLM? What? Like, no, it's not MLM. And I just kind of feel like, so first, we are not an MLM company, right? We are social marketers. So it is different. And I'm going to invite you guys to talk about that. But like in my experience with that, and I'm sure you guys have had similar things happen where people just like, you log into your Facebook and you have these messages, right? And you click on a message and it's someone that you haven't spoken to in, you know, since high school or like 10 years. And they're like, hey, I'm with Mary Kay or whatever company. And it's like, like, look at my catalog. What? Hi. It's like there's like a slimy kind of feeling around it. And when people ask me that question, I'm like, oh God, here's the question again. Like, no. And so you, like Matt, you've been with an MLM company, right? And so have I. What do you feel is what is the biggest like differentiation between us and traditional MLMs?
Yeah, I mean, I think before I dive into that, let me just say if and when I get that question, which isn't very often, I almost never get somebody asking that anymore, because my confidence level now is through the roof. And so I don't ever put off that energy. But I remember when I used to get that question of like, is this an MLM or is this one of those MLM companies, things like that. I used to feel like I needed to defend. I needed to be like, no, it's not. Like, it's totally different. Let me tell you all the reasons why it's different. Now I'm like, well, tell me, is that what you're looking for? Because your experience might read the question of, is this an MLM, in one light, when in reality they're asking, oh, is this like one of those MLM companies? Because I was actually just reading
like, ooh, is it?
It could be, it could be a million different things. So So that's the first thing is like, well, is that what you're looking for? Oftentimes it'll be a no. It'll be like, well, no. I'd be like, okay, then what is your experience with an MLM that makes you fearful of whether this is an MLM or not? Tell me a little bit more about that and unpacking some of that.
Okay.
That's, that's for whoever's listening. That's, because the question isn't really that scary. It's they're asking, is this a business where you get paid based off multiple levels of volume? The reality is, every business, you are going to get paid off of multiple levels of volume if you're high enough. In our business, because the setup is different, the answer is no, it's not technically an MLM. However, let's say Susan wants to partner up with 10 other people in the business and she wants to get paid off of production of other people, then technically, yeah, you're in a multiple level of income network. However, let's say Susie doesn't want to do that at all. She doesn't want to build a team. She just wants to be able to enjoy the product and promote the product and has 0 teammates. Then no, it's not an MLM because she has no network of multi-level income, bringing in income in multiple levels. So it just depends on how people look at it. I think that way. But I think the biggest differential factor is that it's up to the individual. So I'll be honest, when I got started, I didn't know jack about collagen, and I honestly could care less about my skin. I would be washing my hair and I would just go and be and that's how I did it. It just was all one thing, and that's the way I made it work. However, as I learned more about the importance of collagen and how it's the most important abundant protein in the body and how every cell in your body functions off of the production of collagen and yada, 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 then I started to go, oh, okay, I need to start really talking about this and selling the product more. But when I started, I didn't know jack. So I relied on what I was good at, which is helping people make money and recruiting. So when I started this business, my first month, I only had 3 customers. And from those 3 customers, I ended up actually having 25 business partners in the first month. So when most people get started, they're afraid to go recruit business partners because of it's an MLM, because I've done these things before. I couldn't get my best friend to do it. My tip is don't recruit the people that are closest to you because they're the ones that are the biggest naysayers anyway. Go find people you have influence with. So in our first month with this business, it was go build a team of people that could sell the product way better than I could, and then learn how to sell the product. And that's the method we did. And, our business did $3.6 million in the first year. So that the biggest difference, I'm sidetracking, but the biggest difference is really, it's up to the individual. We wanted to build a team to start. Most people just want to sell product to start. It's whatever they want. There's no right or wrong answer. It's whatever the individual wants. And if they ever want to venture into the other side of the way our business works, they can. If they don't want to, they don't have to.
Yeah. And so I want to go back to your sidetrack because that was a really good sidetrack. You're like, let me just throw in there, like, first year, $3.6 million. Okay. And so I think a lot of people may have this misconception of the money that you can make or cannot make with a business like this, right? So the 2 of you do this full time. And so I'm just going to let you take it from here. Like, what have you guys made? What have you seen? What is your, what's a typical day of work like for you, like hour wise and all of that?
Well, Troy can probably, he has, we're 2 different people. So when we talk about, let's say you start with clarity. So $3.6 million of volume sold in our business in our first year equates, I'm not going to say exact dollar amount, but it equates to a different dollar amount that you earn. So remember, in any business, the amount of revenue is brought in and then creates an income.
Right.
I will say I have people that earned $30,000 to $40,000 last year. just as their side, as this is their very much so their side hustle. We had people that earned $60,000 to $70,000 last year within our business that this is, again, still their side income. So that 3.6 million is like revenue. But in regards to, I'll be honest, my first 10 years in this industry, I think the most I ever made was like $2,200 in a check. Like after 10 years of working with a company and knowing everything there is to know about their product, I still only made like 2,200 as my best month ever. That was with my previous company. And it was because it was a broken model. Like the way the business model worked didn't work, which is why nobody really made money. And I was in the top 1% of the company, kind of like you, right? In terms of isogenics. But in our day-to-day, everybody, what we teach in our business is that everybody needs to work within their own strength. So communication, motivation, encouragement, lifting people up, celebrating people's wins, that's really not my strength. That's not an area for me. I'm not naturally gifted there. What I am gifted in is going and having conversations with people that I think this could be a good fit for, whether as a product or a business, having a real honest conversation with them, figuring out what I really think they could do and create, and then helping them take a next step and staying focused on the goal, take the next step, stay focused on the goal, take a next step, keeping things moving. If they're afraid to reach out to somebody that they know could do this well, whether it's an Instagram influencer or a salon owner or a horse trainer or whatever, and they think our product could be a source of income for that individual, my strength would be to step in and say, here's what I would say, here's how you say it, do it this, go, and then work through the conversation with them. Whereas Troy, totally different person. So our day-to-day looks drastically different in the sense that I go and keep our customers ordering each month. I go and start new teammates and do new partnerships. I do a lot of recruiting and goals calls with our team. So, and again, schedule wise, I work usually about 10:30 to 11 a.m. to about 2 or 3 in the afternoon most days. Nice. Monday through Friday. We don't very rarely work Saturdays, sometimes, but not very often, and never Sunday. But Love, do you want to go and kind of talk?
Yeah. So, of course, I'll say this results atypical because it depends on your level of focus, right? MLMs, in my opinion, are a fantastic model because it enables someone like me with a full-time job that doesn't really have that much time. As long as I focus and do what I need to do to be able to bring in the amount of income that I wanted to bring in, it allows people to do that, right? But along with the bad rap, it's because we forget that we're talking to people. And we just have to be able to boil down to, you're talking to somebody like face to face. Would you say that? Would you, like, for instance, Danielle, if I sat down with you and I'm like, oh my gosh, and I share with you all my products, what would you do? You'd be like, dude, good for you, but no, right? And that's what people do. So like in our day-to-day, I understand that because I'm like, because I have those texts. Someone says, hey, you'd be great to do this, 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 this. And I'm like, what's in it for me though? Like clearly you've shared what's in it for you. That's fantastic. What's in it for me? Right. And that is what people miss the most is what's in it for them, right? Because no one's going to, let's just take a regular W-2 employee, right? They go in for a job interview because they want to know what's in it for them. They want to know the salary. They want to know what they're going to be doing. They want to know everything about it, right? And the fact that this market, this industry is treated differently is why a lot of people don't succeed in this business. And that's why it has gotten a bad rap because those people do what they're really not supposed to do. And then they don't succeed. And they're like, oh, MLMs are set up to fail, right? Now, granted, there's, like Matthew mentioned, there's compensation models that are completely broken. And there's compensation models that are better than, the ones that are out there. So you obviously just have to find what's best for you. But here's the deal is you can never, ever forget that it's a personal business,
Mhm.
It's a personal business, right? And if you go in thinking what's in it for me, then you're going to get picked up like that Mary Kay text, right? She's like, look and buy from me. Like, you don't want to buy from those people, right? So the approach that I take is, I mean, I'm a people person. So what Matthew said, like the encouraging, that's me, right? But what he does is phenomenal because I cannot teach, right? I'm like, just freaking do it. It's not that hard, but I can't understand the mechanics. That's why I'm the encourager, ironically, right? As long as you know what to do, I'll encourage you to do it. But don't
Yeah.
get me to, because otherwise it's not going to work. But
Really? I feel like you are a really great teacher also.
well, I appreciate that. It's one of the things I've been working on is my patience. Matthew can attest to that. Is because for me it's like when, well, okay, let me give you an example. I am a fantastic person at getting people moving,
Mhm.
right? But when excuses try to creep in, I'm like, okay, I have to understand if these are valid concerns or if they are just complaints. Because coming from that, my experience of like, yeah, I could complain that I had to work 13 hours, and I can complain that, you know, the gym is super packed because it's the only time I can work out. I can complain that I didn't go to bed until 10 or 11 because I had some Zooms, right? I can complain about all those things or complain that I'm not having enough conversations, but ultimately, whose fault is that? It's mine, right? And so distinguishing valid concerns, which there are some valid concerns, and I am really, 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 I guess, gifted. I feel like I'm sounding a little conceited, but it's, you know, I'm gifted at navigating those, right? I'm gifted at helping people to encourage and looking at different perspectives on the same situation rather than just going in it with the negative, right? But what I don't like is when people are like, "Oh, I just don't want to do it because I don't have the time,"
And
right?
that's it. Period.
Right? Or I'm so busy. I'm like, "You're busy doing what?"
We're all
Because I
busy.
guarantee you, when you log your busyness, you're on Instagram for 45 minutes out of the day, right? We're not busy. It's just I feel like that's a reason why people don't go after what they want, is because they're too busy distracting themselves, right? So that's kind of where I'm like, okay, let's rein it in and let's look at reality from one perspective to another. But I just feel like with this business, that's what we have to deal with on a day-to-day basis is people that want to do it their way and the old way, right? The old way meaning that, hey, let's just, hey girl messages where you get spam in your mailbox. What I love about this business is you don't have to work with everybody. It's just like an employer interview, right? You are interviewing people to find out if they're going to be a right fit for you and what you want to stand for in your organization. That's what I love about this social retail model is whereas an MLM, yes, again, I love the model because it enables the not the model, but the concept of the concept, because it enables someone like me to be able to make an income to walk away with my job. Right now, again, that's because I focused and I did what I needed to do consistently, even though I didn't have motivation. I fell on my discipline to be able to get that. Most people don't have that. That's why results are super atypical. But that's my story, right? But it enables me to be able to go find those people that I don't want to be able to have to hold their hand all the time. Right. Because, like, yes, I want to develop people. I want to build people. I want to get them out of this financial rat race because I was in that rat race. Right. And I want them to overcome their thought blocks of, well, what if I leave? Do I lose my medical benefits? Y'all, as a side note, it is so easy to go and find a medical plan that is exactly the one that you have for like what you got taken out of your paycheck for your employer, right? So it's just a lack of confidence, and I can be able to help you through that. But you're intentional on finding people who want to grow with you and who you align with, and then you basically run it with that, right? And that's why, I mean, obviously you and I, we're the exact same person. We want what we want. You know, we're very passionate about it. And that's why we lock arms together and we work through those hard times when you had to say, hey, I'm just going to take a step away from all this. That's totally fine, because guess what? Right? The amount of people that you brought in sustained your momentum. Right. And now, so you can be able to step back in once your head is right and you go for it. That's the power of social retail. Our model is that you don't have to go get everybody. Just focus on the people you want to work with. Right.
Yeah. And I think another thing too, you know, how you had both said looking for the right people, right? And I feel like there are so many people that think that they are the right person, right? I could totally do that. And I have no idea how to do that. What it like Matt recruits people and Troy what like encourages people and Danielle has clients because nutrition and fitness. Well, how do I do it? Like, where do I fit into that puzzle? And really, like with our company, the different lines, like the skincare line, the fitness, the collagen, the dog, the equine, like there's the clean living products, like laundry detergent, cleaner, like all of that stuff. There's something for everybody. And once those people come in, like the abundance of support and guidance that we all have, you know, collectively with each other, it's like wherever you want to go, you have the support to get there. If you know, if it's $500 a month, if it's $5,000 a month, if it's $50,000 a month, like that path is created with your teammates. So I think that's a huge piece too, because a lot of other companies, like you go to another company, you get hired and you have your training and then you're on your own. Bye. Right? You don't do your job. See ya. Whereas here it's like you're one, but you have all with you.
Yeah. Well, I like to think of it as like, so you go to a job and like you said, you get hired and you are expected to perform, right? Because you are trading time for money. That's a typical, like, you know,
yeah,
working for somebody else. You are an employee of somebody else, right? With us is you own your own business. Okay. And if you look at all the other businesses around, is it just them? Or are they partnered with leaders in their industry? Right. And so it's the exact same sort of thing for this way. Like, I mean, hello, when Bill Gates developed Microsoft, you know, he also had other, you know, companies that he could be able to partner up with. Right. Same thing with Steve Jobs, Apple. In fact, I think Bill and Steve like even though they were massive competitors, they were peers. Right. And so when you step into this business, you are a business owner. You're in charge of whatever it is that you want to do, but you're surrounded by other business owners. Right. And it doesn't matter. Like with us, we're a part of a very large team. There's some people that, I mean, you know, personally, Danielle, like, you know, Mike and Jessica Bina, and there's some people I know personally where my efforts don't benefit me directly, but yet I still go out and I serve them. Why? Because we're peers, right? And we want to be able to help each other succeed. That I think is the main difference in why, you know, when I look for certain people, not only do I look for them as, okay, I want to be able to help them with whatever want that they have, but are they going to come in and be a pillar in our community, our wider community, our wider team, our wider organization, right? So I always look for characteristics from the get-go, right? You have to want big things to be able for me to be able to help you, because I want big things, right? If you're like, you want to make $50 a month, I can show you to make $50 a month, right? But I'm not going to be holding your hand for 3 months to do that because it's $50 a month, right? But if you want to go bigger and bigger and you want to do what I want, and I want to make a legacy, a financial fortress around my family, then let's do this, right? Because I have people that I'm working with that have that already, and they're very specific on the pathway that we should go, right? Hardworking. If you want big things, it doesn't fall in your lap. You got to be able to set the time up and work for it, right? Yeah. And you got to be willing to grow, because if you're not willing to grow, then you're never, ever, ever going to get past the barriers that are, I call character tests, to be able to go on to the next step. And life is character tests, character tests, character tests, right? Think about when you were in elementary school, right? Like, hello, you had to take a test, you got to pass it. Okay, cool. You got to go. Great. Now you went to the 3rd grade to the 4th grade. Why? Because you experienced that capability to do so, right? Well, it's the exact same thing in life, right? You got to be able to, when you make a choice to be able to get bigger things, you're going to get tested on, are you serious about it? And if you are, you're going to figure out whatever you need to go over it. So, but here's the deal is you always have that community that's there to support you and help you through it. They're not going to do it for you, right? But they're there for you. And that's why I feel like this organization, this team, this camaraderie we created it's always culture first. Because I've been in companies where the culture is fantastic and everybody succeeds, but those are like they're very, very few and far between. I have worked for more bad companies. I've only worked for one good company. Why? Because the leader was the one that defined that culture, right? And he is doing great things because he is an amazing person. But every other single company I've been through, the owner was all about themselves, and it showed, and it showed, and it showed, right? Yeah. And so you've got to be able to find that, but the community is number one, and that's why I give props Nate and Jen. They define the culture, and they define the fact that we're all helping each other. I don't care if it benefits me or not, because I know that if I help anybody win, then I've done my part.
Yeah, and that's really like my experience of everybody. Any leader in this company, like everybody is a servant leader. It's not look at me, look at what I'm doing. They are, how can I support you? How can I help you? Where do you want to go? Right? Where are you? What's going on? Which is huge. And really it's all about, like you said, like the connection, the communication, building relationships, like how to be a better human, how to help people, really. Like, where else do you have that in a job? Not many places, right? And typically it's the job, right? No. And so Matt, you're writing a book, right? I feel like everyone that we know is writing a book this year.
Thing to do.
It's the year of the book, 2023, the pages. Yeah. So what I haven't really heard too much about your book. I think I know roughly the essence of it, but care to feel
so it's called Becoming a Middle Class Millionaire. And the reality is right now that about 70% of the US, I'm just going to talk about US numbers, but about 70% of the US right now is struggling financially. Meaning that, what does that mean? That means I've had to cut back my spending, cut back on services or things that I've been putting my money towards in order to make ends meet. That's about 7 out of 10 people in the country right now. The other reality, though, is about 70, it's actually more, but about 70% of America makes somewhere between 40,000 a year and 150 grand a year. Like, that's the majority. Yeah. So how do we help that bracket, that income bracket of people, get to the next income bracket without winning the lottery or becoming rich or some fly-by-night plan? It's as simple as understanding a few basic principles financially that are going to help take that 40,000, 60 grand, $100,000 a year, help them manage their money in a way that first and foremost gets them out of debt. And secondly, sets them up with a great amount of money saved, and they're donating, they're giving, tithing, however they want to call it. And so the book is just, I've gone from a 403 credit score with $197,000 of debt at 24 years old to filing bankruptcy at 26 and shutting down my first business to having a credit score that's nearly 800, having no debt, and having multiple, we also have a construction company, but having multiple businesses now at 35, where most people by the time they're 40, 45, 50, they're either dying because their health's so bad or they're dead broke. And so this book is all about take what you currently have now, do a few really smart things with what you currently have, whether it's a $40,000 a year income as a McDonald's manager, that person can become a millionaire without a shadow of a doubt with that $40,000 to $45,000 a year income if they do the right things with that income. Most people don't know what that is. So that's what the book's really about.
I love it. Amazing. Amazing. More servant leading right there.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah.
So
So, I mean, really, all in all, for anybody, for anyone that is in a position to where, I mean, okay, so let's real quick just talk about food, the price of food. Typically, so like I go food shopping, I don't look at the price of food. I buy what I want and I buy what I want, right? Very rare that I'm like, oh, how much is this cereal? So today I go to the supermarket after the gym and there's a couple key things that I always buy, like same brand, right? One of them being Catalina Crunch. Have you ever had that cereal? It's so
I've
good.
heard of it, but I haven't had it.
Yeah, it's delicious. So it's a small bag, right? And so when I first started buying it, it was on the more expensive side, right? It's like vegan, gluten-free, blah, 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 plant-based. It's delicious, right? And it's a better option. So it's started buying it. I think it was like $4.99 for this little bag, right? Like whatever. Still don't care. It's good. Good for me. Buy it. So a couple weeks ago, I looked at it and it was $8. I'm like, $8? That's almost double. Today, it was 9 something. I'm like, for real? So I'm in the cereal aisle. I'm like, okay, what are the other cereals? So like Lucky Charms, Cinnamon Toast Crunch, they're on sale. Buy one, get one free. And it says save, what was it? Save $5.97. I'm like, $6 for Lucky Charms? They used to be like $2.99. What? And so, like, for me, thank God, and I'm so grateful that I don't have to watch when I go food shopping and look at prices. But I mean, Matt, like you were just saying, 70% of the country, right? They're struggling. There's the majority of the country live paycheck to paycheck. Their income hasn't increased and everything else is going up. So like the single mom that has 3 children, I just received a message from a girl the other day. Hey, what do you do? How much money do you make? I'm a single mom and I have 2 kids. I need to make at least $4,000 a month. Okay, well, how are you going to do that? I have no idea. Okay, so whether you want something that is just fun, extra spending money, something to play with on the side, say for a rainy day, or like, how I work with Modere, like, well, when I moved into my apartment, I bought all new furniture and I bought it cash with what I made from Modere. When I go food shopping, I use my Modere card, right? I don't worry about what I'm spending because I'm basically funding my life with what I do with Modere. So for people that have been listening to this and their wheels are kind of starting to spin, for me, my best advice or next steps would be like, just reach out to one of us and like, let's have a conversation. There's never anything negative that comes from learning about something. And there's no shame either in, hey, like, yeah, I have a full-time job and I kind of need to make more money. Support yourself.
Let me say something about that, because that's where a lot of people stop themselves from wanting to start a side hustle, or a side business, because in their mind they think, well, I don't have a lot of time, so I don't know how I'm going to get myself to $10,000 a month. I'm like, hey, shut that voice down, because the reality is, if you made an extra $500 a month right now, it would help. And I guarantee anybody can make 500 bucks with, like, for example, social retailing with our brand, because 500 bucks a month is about 10 customers ordering from you.
Mhm.
It's not that hard to find 10 people in this country that either want better health or better joints or better skincare, or they know somebody that owns a horse, or they want help with hormone balance, or they're going through menopause. It's not that hard to make 500 bucks a month. In fact, our I would say our company average is about 12 or 13 customers is the average. That's the good, the great, the bad, the sucky. That's everybody combined. It's about 13 customers on average. So about 10 can pull in $400 to $500 a month. I'm like, start there. Start asking, not, do I have time for this, or I don't know if I know enough people. Start asking, how do I make 400 bucks a month? Show me how to do that. Start there. And then when you do that, then you could look at the next step. But start it small, start it realistic, and then go from there. And it could be really simple.
Well, like, and also it builds too. So, like I was talking to Jen the other day. We were talking to a girl, a prospect. She was 18, right? So Jen said, I was 18 when I started my first company similar to this, and Jen is now what, 30, I forget, 40 something, right?
46.
Okay, and millionaire. So like Matt just said, like, start there, and like as the months go on, your customers love the products, and you just keep doing what you're doing, and it continues to increase. So your first month may be $200, $300, $400, $500, $600, and then your next month, 8, 7, 7, 8, 900, and then just take the first step, really.
And learn along the way. The whole point of doing a business like this isn't the money. It's becoming a different person that's more resilient, more consistent, more disciplined. You're just going to use the money as a metric to see, oh, I was more disciplined this month because I reached out to more people. Oh, I was more consistent because I took care of my customers, and therefore my check grew a little bit. And because it grew, it's showing me that I'm actually growing in the direction I need to. Obviously business goes up and down, but the reality is it shouldn't go down for multiple months in a row. It just, if it does, it means that you're not consistent or you're not disciplined, and it's time for you to take a little bit more of a serious approach towards your own development. And so I would look at the big picture of this is, who do you become along the way? And then use the money that you're making as a metric for whether you're moving in the right direction or not. And the reality is, if there's people making money in a company like ours with a brand like ours, if people are making money, then, and let's say there's a lot of people making money, like right here, the three of us, we're making money. And if you jump on board and you're not, it's not the product, it's not the company, it's you. And a lot of people forget that you take you wherever you go. Yes. So if you suck here, you'll suck there. Why? Because it's probably because you're not consistent. You're not disciplined. So how do you use a model like this, where there's grace built in and forgiveness built in, and people that'll mentor you along the way to help you get better and better and better? And so, so always just remember that it's really a matter of, what are you going to do with it? And then I would also say that most people that don't do well, if they are consistent and disciplined, then it's usually that they just don't have a good leadership team to lean on, and support to lean on.
Yeah. Sure. Which is not the case here at all whatsoever. Because you guys are the shit.
Well, and again, that it's all about growth, right? We subjected ourselves to be mendable. and we subject ourselves to have constructive criticism because we weren't always like this, right? It's not like you wake up and all of a sudden you're a fantastic leader. Like it takes time, it takes grit, it takes falling on your face. It takes making mistakes, but at the same time, again, if you don't work around that, if you don't correct the course in your own behalf, how do you expect to help people when they come with you with the same thing, right? So it's one of those, it's the thing of, to grow, you have to be able to be able to allow yourself to be mentored to. And a lot of people, they say mentor is as, oh, I just want you to tell me what I need to hear, right? As opposed to having those hard conversations and, really, really helping that person through the good and the bad. So
yeah, you have to be open.
Exactly.
Just as anything, you can't grow unless you're open to it, and it encompasses all of the things. So yes, so I don't want to wrap it up, but we're gonna wrap it up because I know we all have more things to do after this. But yeah, you guys are amazing, and I really want to kind of like drive this home to the both of you. When I did step away for those months, when I was going through what I was going through, and I came back, like the difference in the both of you was extremely noticeable in your leadership skills, in the way that you just even like spoke and communicated, right? The stories that you told, the way that you told them, everything. And I mean, that's just a testament to the growth. And that's only a couple months, right? So I feel like the two of you, and really the company and everybody else in the company, the growth rate far exceeds many, many other, I'm just going to say things, because there's so many different things out there, right? So you guys are amazing. I've learned so much from you guys. I love being in your energy and your presence. You're both just amazing rays of sunshine and fun.
Well, we say the same thing about you, right? I will say this is, when you went through that season in your life, you have come back actually a lot stronger and a lot more confident, and you are just going for it. And we want to just let you know that we appreciate that, because like, I mean, it's, you are a mirror of who you are. So when I see people like you growing, I'm like, yes, this is so amazing. Right. And so we want to just tell you that we appreciate you, and you're going to do great things, including, just really putting this conversation out there for people to hear, and they couldn't have done that without you being the conduit to do that. So we love you and we appreciate you.
Oh, thanks. So much love. And for everyone that wants to share the love with us and really just be in our energy and hang out with us, this is how you do it.
Yes. Exactly.
Yes. So if that's you, feel free. Shoot. I mean, you guys have me on social media. If you don't, Danielle Francine on social media. My email is on the podcast. Troy and Matt are on my Facebook. I'll also put their information on the show notes if you guys are cool with that.
Put our Instagram.
Please.
Okay. We'll put the IGs, the IG handles, get them on the socials. So yes, like, subscribe to the Stage of Greatness so you don't miss anything. And thank you guys all for watching. Thank you guys again. Love you both. Until next time. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thanks, Danielle.
Bye.